So we are reading from second canto, first chapter, verse number 12. HDM cure is there? HDM cure? HDM cure? किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः परोक्षरेखायनैः वरं भूतं विदितं घटते श्रेयसे यतः किं प्रमत्तस्य बहुभिः परोक्षरेखायनैः वरं भूतं विदितं घटते श्रेयसे यतः Anybody wants to decide? Kim, what is Pramattasya of the bewildered, Bahubihi by many, Parokshaihi inexperienced, Hayanaihi ears, Iha in this world, Varam better, Muhurtam a moment, Viditam conscious, Ghatate one can try for Shreyase in the matter of the supreme interest. Yataha, by that. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Purport. Sri Sukadeva Goswami instructed Maharaj Parikshit about the importance of chanting of the holy name of the Lord by every progressive gentleman. In order to encourage the king, who had only 7 remaining days of life, Srila Sukdev Goswami asserted that there is no use in living hundreds of years without any knowledge of the problems of life. Better to live for a moment with full consciousness of the supreme interest to be fulfilled. The supreme interest of life is to return home back to Godhead, where life is eternal with full knowledge and bliss. Those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the animal propensities of the eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their lives by unseen passing away of valuable years. We should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success, and the easiest possible procedure to attain this end is to chant the holy name of the Lord. In the previous verse, we have discussed this point to a certain extent, and we may further be enlightened on the different types of offences committed unto the feet of the holy name. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has quoted many passages from authentic scriptures and has ably supported the statements in the matter of offences at the feet of the holy name. From the Vishnu Yamala Tantra, Srila Jiva Goswami has proven that one can be liberated from the effects of all sins simply by the chanting of holy name of the Lord. Quoting from Markandeya Puran, Srila Goswami says that one should neither blaspheme the devotee of the Lord nor indulge in hearing others who are engaged in belittling a devotee of the Lord. A devotee should try to restrict the vilifier by cutting out his tongue, and even if one is unable to do so, one should commit suicide rather than hear the blasphemy of the devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one should neither hear nor allow vilification of the devotee of the Lord. As for distinguishing the Lord's holy name from the names of the demigods, the revealed scriptures disclose that all the extraordinarily powerful beings are but parts and parcels of the supreme energetic Lord Krishna. Except for Lord himself, everyone is subordinate, no one is independent of the Lord. Since no one is more powerful than or equal to energy of the Supreme Lord, no one's name can be as powerful as that of the Lord. By chanting the Lord's holy names, one can derive all the stipulated energy synchronized from all sources. Therefore, one should not equate the supreme holy name of the Lord with any other name. Brahma, Shiva, or any other powerful god can never be equal to the supreme Lord Vishnu. The powerful holy name of the Lord can certainly deliver one from the sinful effects, but one who desires to utilize this transcendental potency of the holy name of the Lord in one's sinister activities is the most degraded person in the world. Such persons are never excused by the Lord or by any agent of the Lord. One should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means, without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the tree and other living entities, who may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement. I'll offer prayers. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas sitting here to speak on the Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of Lord and for purification of my own heart, and especially I seek the blessings of His Grace Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, His Grace Keshav Kripa Sindhu Prabhuji, and many other senior Vaishnavas sitting here. So today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 1st chapter, verse number 12. The translation is, what is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world, but a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. So the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam ended by the 4 questions of Parikshit Maharaj. That is, he asked to Sukadeva Goswami that what is the duty of a dying man, and especially what should he hear and what should he not hear. And in answer to that, 2nd canto begins where Sukadeva Goswami tells that in the first 10 verses of first chapter of 2nd canto, Sukadeva Goswami tells about how one should not hear about the Gruhamedi life, what one should not hear. One should not hear about the sense gratification life, Gruhamedi life. Then later, what one should hear, then he explains about in the further verses, especially in the verse 11, he tells about Etan nirvidyamananam ichchatamakto bhayam yoginam nrupaniranitam harer namanukirtanam. Constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after ways of great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So he gives the solution immediately. That is, the constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the only way what one should do, especially since you have only 7 days left. Now Parikshit may ask that now you have given the solution, but now I only have 7 days. Then, in order to encourage him, so Srila Sukadeva Goswami quotes a pastime of Katwanga Maharaj. So this section is about that, from 12 to 14 verses, where Sukadeva Goswami cites the example of Katwanga Maharaj. And in this verse, he is encouraging Parikshit Maharaj in one way. He is telling that what is the use of living for years and years together without having even a small bit of spiritual consciousness. So now you have 7 days, so utilize these 7 days, and even if you utilize the 7 days in full spiritual consciousness, so you will get the full benefit, even if you are not lived for life without Krishna consciousness. Actually, Parikshit Maharaj, he was such a great devotee of the Lord. He himself subdued Kali. So for all of us, we are in voice centers, different centers, we are trying to preach. So for us to subdue Kali, that is to make everyone follow 4 negative principles. So that is a very big, difficult task. But Parikshit Maharaj was that he actually had subdued Kali, and he was a great devotee of the Lord. But still, in order to encourage him, Sukadeva Goswami is now citing the example of Katwanga Maharaj, and here he is telling. So in the purport, there are 2 themes discussed. So I will discuss about that today. So first is about eat, drink, be merry life of materialists in this world. Now the second theme is about avoiding offenses. So today I will be discussing, first I will go through the first theme. So there are very similar verses from Srimad Bhagavatam on the same context in the 3rd chapter of 2nd canto. So we will see these three verses, second canto, third chapter, 17 to 19. So before I go through, the basic fundamental problem of a materialistic person is that one thinks that this life is all in all and there is no life after death. So, and because of that, he tries to enjoy as much as possible in this one life. And he doesn't think what is there for me after death. He is in ignorance. And because of that ignorance, he finds many ways to find happiness. And many people get frustrated. And especially in the early 2000s and 2010, so many people discovered many things in order to be happy. Like there is Disneyland, there is Wonderla, and some people even opened a laughing club where if you just people see each other and they just laugh. So like that. So people want to be happy and everyone wants to be happy, but they are in ignorance on way to find that happiness. So this verse describes that Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Udyanastam Chayannasau Tasyarte Yat Shano Nito Uttama Shloka Vartaya. That a moment, every day as the sun sets and sun rises, a day in our life is going. It's getting minus in our existence. A day in our life is going, except for those who are utilizing their day in glorifying the activities of the Lord. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains very vividly about how the materialist thinks. Human life is awarded to a living entity simply so that he can realize his spiritual identity and his permanent source of happiness. A living being, especially human being, is seeking happiness because happiness is the natural situation of the living entity. But he is vainly seeking happiness in the material atmosphere. A living being is constitutionally a spiritual spark of the complete whole, and his happiness can be perfectly perceived in spiritual activities. The Lord is the complete spirit whole, and his name, form, qualities, pastimes, entourage, and personality are all identical with him. Once a person comes in contact with any one of the above mentioned energies of the Lord through the proper channel of devotional service, the door to perfection is immediately opened. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that endeavors in devotional service are never baffled, nor is there any failure. Even a slight beginning of such activities is sufficient to deliver a person from the great ocean of material fears. So, this is a very powerful statement. As a highly potent drug injected intravenously acts at once on the whole body, the transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by the pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently. Oral realization of the transcendental messages imply total realization, just as fructification of one part of tree implies fructification of all other parts. So, in this verse, mainly it is described that how our life is, the time is ticking every day. 50, the Mudadas will say 20. And it can be any, but for example, I am telling, it can be, we don't know when we are going to die, but still, when it is come to 68, so you have lived for 68 years, Yamadutas are getting ready, 2, then 69, 1, so like that. Then finally, when the final day comes, Yamadutas are ready to come. So 70th year, then 0. So immediately they also come to catch him. So the life as the sun, as every day is going, no matter how much millions of gold coins we give, the day which is spent is never to be returned back again. So, but when the day is used for glorifying the Lord, which is the purpose of human life, when the day is used to glorify the Lord, so that day is counted as, so we are going closer to God. Instead of going closer to the death, actually we are going closer to the God. Now the next verse is more, Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maya Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The next verse is more relevant to our discussion. Next two verses. The translation is, Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmiths not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? So, this is telling about how even the animals, so they also have this eating, they also are very expert in sleeping, very expert in mating, very expert in defending. So, these four are very much common in all of us. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada says, the materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life or part of it is never meant for discussion of theosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence, for the eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry and enjoying life. So this is what a materialist person thinks. And why he does think so? Because he thinks life is all in all. There is nothing after death. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science. And there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration, but Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science, for hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying one's existence, so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of human form of life. The materialists want to prolong life as much as possible because they have no information of the next life. They want to get the maximum comforts in this present life because they think conclusively there is no life after death. This ignorance about the eternity of the living being and the chains of covering in the material world has played a havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by various plans of modernized man. So like this, Prabhupada continues. At the end, Prabhupada tells about, one may doubt, so this is interesting, so one may ask, so how can we compare ourselves? We are human beings, we are very intellectuals, and we are advanced people of the entire society. So then how can we compare ourselves to dogs, cats, to the trees? So do the trees not live? So Sukadeva Goswami is telling, do the trees not live? To the bellows of blacksmith it does not breathe. So then how can we compare ourselves to that? So here Prabhupada writes, one may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe, but modern scientists like Bose have already proved that. Okay, fine. The Bhagavatam says that the bellows of the blacksmith breathes very soundly, but that does not mean that the bellows has life. The materialists argue that life in the tree and the life in the man cannot be compared because the tree cannot enjoy life by eating palatable dishes, by enjoying sexual intercourse. In reply to this, Bhagavatam asks whether animals like dogs, hogs living in the same village with human beings do not eat and enjoy sexual life. The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regard to the other animals means that persons who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, mating, or also animals in the shape of human beings. So here is a very strong statement. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity. For an animal can easily harm another animal but rarely do good. So this is the entire materialistic way of life summarized in one sentence. That people are very much into eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and everyone is wanting their own sense gratification. So no one is, although they make so much propaganda, they make so much propaganda to help others, to make United Nations, etc., so to unite one another. But still, since everyone is selfish to oneself, there is hardly any chance of actually good happening in the society. So here is saying an animal can easily harm another animal but rarely do good. So because of the ignorance of a living entity, we can never help any other living entity. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Now, how Bhagavatam further explains how humans is like a polished animal. The next verse is about that, how humans is like a polished animal. So we will see that verse. So this is very famous verse, many times Prabhupada has quoted this. Svavid varaho shtakharai samstutah purushah pashuhu nayat karna pato peto jatu nama gadagrajah Men who are like dogs, hawks, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord Krishna, the deliverer from the evils. So here, humans who are leading like animalistic life are compared to the four animals. So one is dog, then hog, then camel, then asses. So Prabhupada gives very vivid description. So I will just read some parts of it um, about these four animals. So from purport, the general mass of people, unless they are trained systematically for higher standard of life in spiritual values, are no better than animals. And in this verse, they have particularly been put on the level of dogs, hawks, camels, and asses. So actually, in the Vedic time, education was for training the right spiritual attitudes. But now the education is mainly about how we can engineer, how we can create something. So more on the external platform, but not on the attitude platform, not on the internal platform. All the education is about that. So here Prabhupada tells that actually education is to train the right aspirations in a living entity. So education is that which gives the right spiritual aspirations to a living entity. And with that he can refine his attitude and utilize the best in this human form of life. So modern university educational institution practically prepares one to acquire a doggish mentality with which to accept a position of service to greater master. After finishing so-called education, the so-called educated persons move like dogs from door to door with applications for some service. Mostly they are driven away, informed of no vacancy. So actually I have experienced by hearing from many people. So one of my cousin was there. So he did. He was very much passionate about civil engineering. So although everyone told him, so computer science is there, so you will get a job if you do computer science. No, I wanted to do civil engineering. So he did the civil engineering, and after the 4 years, so civil engineering he completed. He got the degree, and but he could not find a job for that. So then he thought, let me do MTech. So at least that time I will find a job. So MTech means we'll get a better job. So generally people after engineering, if they want a higher package, they do MBA or MTech, or some do PG, etc. So let me find a better job. So like that he thought, and he did 3 years MTech. And after all that, so he worked hard for 3 years, he got the degree, he did even internship in a big company. But at the end, so finally he was told that we have so much already people in the civil engineering and there is very less demand. So there is no room for you, even though you have MTech degree. so like that, many people are running, looking after a job. But actually that education is for getting the job, but actually many education is not helping them. So here it is said, they are compared to the dogs. So going from one place to another place, they are just trying to be servant. So education means main education is about Supreme Lord, the knowledge of spirit soul, knowledge of Supreme Lord, and also the practical knowledge of the word. But now hardly there is any knowledge of Supreme Lord. So like when Prabhupada went to MIT, Harvard, so then all the big lectures, many devotees, they introduced, this building is science department, this building is physics department, this is mathematics department, this is biology. So like that many departments they said. And like that 44 departments Prabhupada saw. And at the end, Prabhupada asked, he was listening, so at the end Prabhupada asked, so where is the department which teaches about soul? And they had no answer for that. So, as dogs are negligible animals and serve the master faithfully for bits of bread, a man serves master faithfully without sufficient rewards. So this is the problem with leading only materialistic life, where even though we work hard, very hard, still the rewards are not as up to the work. Just like many people sacrificed. People sacrifice for the parents, people sacrifice for the nation. So just like our famous Mahatma Gandhi, he sacrificed everything for the nation actually. He did so much riots, he did so much fasting. So But still at the end, what did he get? So at the end he was killed by his own nation man. So the reward of a materialistic endeavor is not always fruitful. But in spiritual life, even if even if we do a small endeavor, still it is counted. Just like the example of Jatayu. So he did his endeavor, he tried to save Sita, but he could not do so. He was unsuccessful in his endeavor externally if we see. He was unsuccessful. But still he got the reward of going back to Godhead. That is eternal reward. Such a reward which is there forever. So spiritual endeavor is always fulfilling. Even if you are not able to see even if you are not able to see the reward in this life, or in a tangible manner, still it is fulfilling, and Krishna always keeps track. In the Gajendra Moksha prayers, Gajendra prays that Lord is very attentive to deliver the fallen soul. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes that Lord remembers every act which a person does. Every service is counted in Krishna's book, and every act is counted. And he is very much attentive. Whether we are attentive or not, Lord is very much eager and very much attentive to give spiritual benefits. So he is always looking, when will the jiva have a spiritual desire? Now coming back to the hawks. So persons who are no discrimination in matter of foodstuff, who eat all sorts of rubbish, are compared to hawks. So hawks are very much attached to eating stool. So stool is a kind of foodstuff for a particular type of animal. And even the stones are eatables for a particular type of animal or bird. But the human being is not meant to eat everything and anything. He is meant to eat grains, vegetables, etc. Animal food is not meant for human being. So then Prabhupada explains how the digestive system is different for human beings, etc. So it is known to everyone that one man's food is another man's poison. Human beings are expected to accept remnants of food offered to Lord Krishna. And Lord accepts foodstuff from the categories of leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. Therefore, a human being is meant to eat particular type of food. He should not imitate the animals to derive so-called vitamin values. So in one lecture, Prabhupada was telling, actually one devotee had come, so and generally in Westerners, so many people are vegan, so they don't take milk products, or some many different types of diet they follow. So like that one lady devotee had come, I forget the name, but so then Prabhupada gave him the rasgulla, so then gave her the rasgulla. Then she was little hesitant to take it. Then Prabhupada said, it has lot of vitamins. So then immediately she understood, okay, this is made of milk, so she took it. So instead of in the name of so-called keeping the diet, keeping the vitamins, keeping the proteins level in our body, so everything is actually there in the vegetarian food only. But just for the taste of tongue, just for the sake of eating, people eat anything and everything. So I don't want to describe that many people eat many different types of insects, animals, etc. Now coming to the camel. The camel is kind of an animal that takes pleasure in eating thorns. A person who wants to enjoy family life or the worldly life of so-called enjoyment is compared to the camel. Materialistic life is full of thorns, and so one should live only by the prescribed method of Vedic regulations. So here Prabhupada tells that the camel, if you see, it is there generally found in the desert, and for it, whenever he sees any green thing, it wants to eat. So in the desert, the cactus is grown widely, and as soon as it sees the cactus, then cactus is filled with thorns. So when it takes the cactus, it finds a great taste. Oh, it is very tasty, it is very juicy. So let me take more. So then he doesn't understand that juiciness is coming from his own blood. That taste is coming from his own blood. So he is chewing and drinking, sucking his own blood. So similarly, so here Prabhupada tells the central point of attraction for material life is sex life. To enjoy sex life is to suck one's own blood. And there is not much more to be explained in this connection. So Even Prahlad Maharaj also explains, sorry, Rishabdev Prayas also explains about, Prahlad Maharaj also explains how the materialistic life is centered only around sex life. The camel also sucks its own blood while chewing the thorny twigs. The thorns the camel eat cut the tongue of the camel, so the blood begins to flow within the camel's mouth. So similarly, the great business magnates, industrialists who work very hard to earn money by different ways and questionable means, eat the thorny results of their actions mixed with their own blood. So actually, our every action is counted, as I was telling before. So whatever we do, it's just like a person, if he wants to construct a building. So first he creates he plans, he creates the blueprint, he talks with different architects, and he finalizes the blueprint. And once the blueprint is done, that means for next this house is getting built. So first he plans, creates blueprint, then the house is built. So similarly, our actions, what we are planning now, what we are doing now, it's like a blueprint for our next life or our future. So what we are doing now, everything is counted. And if we headlong, if we go on in material life, so then for sure suffering is awaiting us. But at the same time, if we render devotional service, then Krishna is awaiting us. Therefore, Bhagavatam has instituted these deceased fellows along with the camels. Now the last one, the ass. The ass is an animal who is celebrated as the greatest fool even amongst the animals. The ass works very hard and carries burdens of the maximum weight without making profit for itself. The ass is generally engaged by the washerman whose social position is not very respectable. And when the special qualification of the ass is that it is very much accustomed to being kicked by the opposite sex. When the ass begs for sexual intercourse, he is kicked by the fair sex, yet he still follows the female for such sex pleasure. So as is compared to the henpecked man, the general mass of people work very hard, especially in the age of Kali, the work of an ass. So in this age of human being is actually engaged in such burdensome work. After working very hard during the day, the poor laborer has to again kicked by the fair sex, not only for sex enjoyment but also for so many household affairs. So this is how a materialistic person is leading a polished animal life. Dogs, ass, camel, and hog. So there is very, very vivid description by Srila Prabhupada on polished materialistic life. Now coming back to our original purport. So we discussed till now about the materialistic life and also some aspects of what actually is the goal of life. That how, because of ignorance, people are having so many desires, but if we uproot the ignorance by Krishna consciousness, so then actually we can have the spiritual desires, and that spiritual desires leads us to eternal kingdom of spiritual Godhead. Now in the next aspect, it is said about the offenses. So actually all these are linked. How Srila Prabhupada is bringing out here, these are linked. So first, in a devotee life, how it is, let us say if someone is having a lot of materialistic outlook towards devotees and wanting to enjoy, a lot of tendency to enjoyment is there, then eventually what happens, because of the materialistic outlook towards devotees, so he commits the first offense, which is Vaishnava aparadh, that is blaspheming the devotees of the Lord, who are dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. So because of that offense, Krishna implants more and more material desires in him. And because of that, he continuously goes into the sinful life. And that's where the next part of the purport is said about that the seventh offense, that the power of the holy name can certainly deliver one from sinful effects, but one who desires to utilize the transcendent potency of the holy name of the Lord is in one sinister activities is most degraded person in this world. So because of the sinful activities, one may think, anyway I am chanting Hare Krishna and I am chanting for 15 years, 20 years, or I am chanting for so long time. So then I have acquired so much pious activities now. So a little impious activity doesn't harm me. So like that, if one thinks, and if one commits sinful, if one succumbs to sinful activity on the strength of the holy name, then it becomes the greatest sin. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said, like one may argue also, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Patita Pavan. Patita Pavan means he delivers the most sinful people. So then he should deliver everyone. Even if I am sinful, definitely then I am the most right candidate to get delivered. One may say like that. But actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Patita Pavan, but he doesn't accept the cunning nature, duplicitous nature of people. He is not Kapata Pavan. If someone is doing duplicitous behavior, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't give that mercy to him. So just like he showed a great example in his behavior with Chota Haridas. So Chota Haridas, obviously he was an eternal associate of the Lord, but in order to teach us from this example, he behaved that way, that Chota Haridas, although he was a sannyasi, he looked with a wrong intentions towards a woman, and because of that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately rejected him. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Chota Haridas committed suicide, and he said, good that he committed suicide. So one may argue, my God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful, Sabha Avatar Sara Shiromani, then how is that possible? So there Prabhupada writes that actually in order to teach the all-time lesson, that whoever, if anyone thinks like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept. If anyone thinks on the strength of the holy name, one can continue to commit sinful activities, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not accept. So in order to teach that for everyone and for all time to come, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu behaved like that with Chota Haridas Thakur. And actually Chota Haridas Thakur eventually, after he committed suicide, he repented and he went back to Godhead. So here it is even more clearly stated that such persons are never excused by the Lord or even by the agent of the Lord. So this is even more astonishing. So Prabhupada is writing, obviously he writes the standards in his purports, but Prabhupada in his own life he behaved very compassionately. Like when one sannyasi was there and he eventually got married. So Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected them, but I cannot reject you. I will need your help for the mission of the Lord. But at the same time, he did not give the sannyas back. He told you can get married and you continue in Krishna consciousness. So one should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means without any offense. So this is the essence of this verse, that glorify the Lord, chant the holy names of the Lord without any offense. So this in our life, it is how it is applicable. So we are chanting for so many years and years, and it is like prolonged years of service also we are doing. But how much are we actually, we have to introspect in our own self, that how much actually we are taking to Krishna consciousness, how much actually we have developed that affection towards Krishna, developed that affection towards the holy name of the Lord, developed affection towards devotees. So this we have to introspect. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the trees. So Prabhupada also quoted that there is a tree still in Vrindavan from the time of Krishna, which tamarind tree, which is living for more than 5,000 years. And he also quotes many redwood trees in US. So they are living for thousands and thousands of years. So, but he tells, what is the use of such prolonged life? It is simply out of ignorance. So let us not be in that ignorance. Let us take to devotional service with more and more enthusiasm as the day passes, with more and more eagerness, with more and more affection towards the Lord, with more and more eagerness, and at the same time respect towards the holy name, respect towards every aspect of devotional service which we are doing. So let us stick to the process more rigidly, and that way we can best utilize our human form of life. We can best utilize the greatest opportunity which we have got, that is devotional service. Now I want to show, so recently I was reading a diary of traveling monk from Indradyumna Swami Maharaj. So there there are two wonderful letters, two Vyaspuja offerings, or two letters you can say. One is Vyaspuja offering by a Mataji, by a devotee, and one more is also a letter to Indradumna Maharaj. So I will show you that. So it is very heart touching, and how devotee feels, like how when devotee is very sincere and devotee takes up to devotional service very rigidly, even if having so many difficulties, then Krishna will for sure reciprocate. So that is the essence of this verse, to glorify the Lord offenselessly, irrespective of whatever situation we are in. Just like, you see, one simple example is there that one tomorrow exam is there and you go and give to that student, I found all the books which you are required, and you go and give him some 10 books. Will he be satisfied? No, tomorrow only exam is there. How will I have time to read? But if you go and give him the exam paper, see here, take this exam paper and be study for the exam. So then you will be very much excited. Correct or not? So like that is the chanting of the holy name. So now you take this chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all the scriptures. Take it seriously and your life will be perfect. So this letter actually is of a lady who was serving Indradumna Maharaj for in Russia. She was actually a secretary of Maharaj for almost 5-6 years, and her mother also was a devotee, and both were initiated by Maharaj. But then later she got some disease, and then she became completely crippled, and she was not able to walk. And all her life she would spend in her apartment. Even if any big people come, big sannyasis come, so she was not able to attend any programs in the temple. So when Maharaj heard this, that his disciple is like that, so then Maharaj went to meet her. And there, as soon as he went and saw her, so then her mother explains what is her lifestyle. So she is crippled and she is not able to move, and physically she is very much in distress. But her mother tells that all the day she is chanting Hare Krishna. She only sleeps for 2-3 hours, and as soon as she just takes little prasadam once in 2 days. So we hear only of Goswamis, but in practical life, that too in Russia, so she is taking once in 2 days, and all other times she is just chanting the holy name of the Lord. And Maharaj, as soon as he heard this, his eyebrows went up, and then he came and approached her, and then she gave actually $1,000 bill as a donation. So this Russia actually that time was very economically poor, and they themselves were very poor. So to give donation of $1,000 is like their entire life saving. And then Maharaj told her, no, I cannot accept. Then they immediately argued back. This is my offering to you, Maharaj. So then Maharaj said, okay, I will use it for a special preaching purpose. So then at the end, Maharaj blessed her, and then he was going back. Then all the brahmacharis who was there with Maharaj, they asked, how is she getting so much determination to chant Hare Krishna, so to continue in devotional service, even after so much stress in life. So then Maharaj said, it may be coming from previous life. Then Maharaj quoted the verse from Bhagavad Gita. So then, as soon as he was going, she gave him a letter. She gave Maharaj a letter, and that letter is this. My dear spiritual master, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories unto you. I am happy in Krishna consciousness. With each rising and setting of sun, I come closer to the goal of my life. I constantly thank Krishna for allowing me to meet with Srila Prabhupada books and my eternal spiritual master in this life. And most important, at this stage of my life, he has removed all unnecessary things given me and given me all facilities to fully engage in chanting the holy names. I pray that this time I will not lose the chance to take my life completely successful. So Hare Krishna, your eternal servant, Krishna Jivani Dasi. So then so before reading this, Maharaj said, boys, I said, listen, take a note. This is the sincerity needed to attain the supreme goal of life. Then Maharaj started to read. So here we can see that how when a devotee takes up to devotional service, miracles can happen. So there is one more letter like this, a Vyaspuja offering. So I'll just give a brief description since time is less. So this Mataji was actually, she got some disease in her teenage, and then she lost her eyes, she became blind. And but although she was blind, she would perform various dance, etc., various services in Maharaj's tours. He would go in different Poland tours. So she would serve in that. So then she is writing in Vyas Puja offering, I am very happy to be here at the celebration of your Vyas Puja and to have opportunity to thank you for everything, especially for sharing with me the most intimate treasure of love and affection for Sri Vrindavan Dham. The scriptures state that we awaken an attachment to Golok Vrindavan in spiritual world by developing an attachment to Golok Vrindavan in material world. You, my dear spiritual master, love Vrindavan so much that you spread this infectious love to all of us. As a result, we cannot but appreciate Vrindavan and give our hearts fully to the holy place. I remember clearly the second day I met you, you asked, have you heard of Vrindavan? It's most amazing place. One day I will take you there. Obviously, I knew nothing of Vrindavan at that time, but your description made me want to run there. After some time, the dream came true. I went to that secret place. So imagine, keep in note that she is blind. Through your words, based on the Vedic scriptures, I was able to understand the transcendental abode. My dear spiritual master, by your grace, I could see Vrindavan. Krishna is forever performing his pastimes there. But we cannot see them because of our conditioning in the form of material desires, resulting in lust, anger, greed. I remember how we were on parikrama at Kaliya Ghat. You were telling us the pastime of Lord Krishna, chastising Kaliya serpent. I was thinking how wonderful it is that we people born in Western countries in the age of Kali are able to sit in Vrindavan under the Kadamba tree that was touched by the lotus feet of the Lord. How was it possible? Only by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. I am grateful to you for giving me back my sight, allowing me to appreciate the most precious thing in life, and the all attractive Lord and His eternal abode, Shivandan Dham. So for your ever servant, Kunja Kishori Dasi. So like this, when a devotee is sincere, even if many revulsions come, even if many obstacles come, that small amount of sincerity, even for a short time, reciprocates like this. Although she was blind, she was actually able to see Vrindavan. When I read this, I was remembering how Bilvamangal Thakur, although he was blind, he still had the vision of Krishna. So I will conclude here for today's session. So today we discussed about how materialistic life, especially from the verses of third chapter of second canto, how a materialistic person leads his life in a polished animalistic way. Hawks, dogs, asses, and camel. So these four things. And then later we discuss about the human form of life, how much it is important, how we should not succumb to the ignorance. Rather, we should take up to devotional service very strongly and firmly. And at the end, we also saw how devotional service gives a greatest reward even for a little endeavor. And we saw these two letters of two wonderful Matajis who actually had greatest revelation in their life. One was about the chanting of the holy name without any offense, and another was about revealing the glorious Vrindavan Dham. And in the purport also, so first we saw about the materialistic life. Next we saw if some devotee or if any person has a materialistic vision, then eventually he will commit the first offense. And first offense, because of that, he will take up to sinful activities, which eventually leads him to commit the seventh offense of the holy name. But if it is with respect, if we approach holy name every day, so then everything is possible and our life will be successful. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, is there any questions or comments? So whole point is we don't need to work hard. We don't need motivation to work hard. Rather, actually, for a devotee, um, it's actually for a materialistic person who is living in a polished animalistic life. But for a devotee, since he is engaging in the work in service of Krishna, the results of work in service of Krishna, he himself is chanting the holy names of the Lord every day, 16 rounds. He himself is attending Mangalarti every day. He's here making an endeavor to hear lecture every day, hear from Bhagavatam. So then that compensates all the materialistic thoughts in his mind. So because the spiritual thoughts give so much enthusiasm, energy to go on throughout the day, so that material vibrations doesn't affect him so much. And if it is affecting us, what we have to strengthen is our devotional service more and more. Especially take out time whenever time, I mean, on the weekends or when yatras is there, take out time to appreciate and develop affection for the holy name of the Lord. Appreciate and develop affection for Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all the scriptures. So that we have to endeavor. Without endeavor, it will not come. Just like without endeavor, our attraction to opposite sex doesn't go away. So it's like even for those who are 60, 70, they also will have. But if we endeavor to develop affection for Srimad Bhagavatam, to holy name, then Krishna one day he will reciprocate with that. Oh, it is not related to seventh offense, but I was just quoting that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught everyone that if someone is committing offense, especially breaking the regulative principles, someone is breaking the regulative principles, and if he is thinking of on the strength of the holy name I can break the regulative principles, then that is very bad. But it is not related. He was not committing offense as such, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected him in order to teach everyone. So is there any corrections, Prabhuji? Bhaktivinoda Prabhuji? Or I will catch your dhoti, Prabhuji, and I will go behind. I will catch your lotus feet.
Desolate. Oh, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And that's also not a good attitude. So that's why many purpose is gradual progress. So people are now, we promote the final goal of life, But we are not Goswamis. We can't do that. So gradual progress is what is required. You know that, I know that. So it's good, but you also give terms and conditions for pure devotional service. What? You should be free from mundane obligations. Because if somebody hears he has got a family, children and all that, you will become frustrated. But we want to encourage everyone. Say Krishna is very merciful, is very open, and Krishna said Chaturvarnyamaya. And also in the modern age, even to follow Chaturvarnyamaya system, even that is a big headache. They are surrounded. Why are we? I want to know why. If Vrindavan is the place to be, I want to know why I'm in Bangalore. And do we take care of devotees like that? So we should see what is in our, we should keep our house in order first. So are you ready to serve people if they come and surrender to you? Say, I want to be here. I know. Are you able to do that? I actually took a big risk. I said, I won't go for a job. Come what may. I'll see whether Krishna's promise is valid or not. Of course, I am not doing Ananda Chintayantoma, but at least I came. I stayed here. But I'm not saying I did Ananta Chintayantoma. But Krishna has done his part. I have lived without using money. It's a fact. It's happening to me. I can say it's a fact. But how can I say it's a fact to all others? So Krishna responds to individuals' attitude towards him. So if I feel I'm in a position to leave, practically speaking, I abandoned the family. I did something for 2 years because it was a very difficult situation. But then I said, no, it doesn't matter. Krishna is saying he will look after that. So it doesn't matter. And I had some good fortune also, some little good fortune here and there. And I was free. I was not caught up in anything, like that. So my humble request is that we have to encourage everybody equally, no matter which situation we are in. It's good to emphasize the final goal, pure devotional service, surrender to Mahaprabhu, not committing offenses, not doing this, not doing that. So I sincerely feel we want to encourage everyone of here, no matter what situation they are in. So my point is well taken, but this explanation of Prabhupada of hogs, dogs, camels and asses, it's not spoken among devotees. It should not be spoken among devotees. Because it may hurt them also. Am I like that? So we want to consider. Prabhupada said, these are my jewels. People who come to Krishna, yena kena prakarena, akama sarvakama moksha kama udarati. Yena kena prakarena manakrishna. So these are all Prabhupada's jewels. They have come. So therefore we want to give them that kind of a feeling. So this example of how even Prabhupada will not use it so casually because it's really hurting to say that. So fools and rascals, Prabhupada said, I can say you fools and rascals, but you cannot say it. You can't say it. I can say and get away with it, but you can't say it. So in our association, we will be more positive and more encouraging. Otherwise, we will not attract youngsters. Because this example of hog dogs, camels, asses will turn them away. So our job is to bring them closer and more and more. And dadati pratigranati guhya makyati prachati is the verse for us. So we should emphasize more on that. Sometimes I feel that, but I must tell you one thing. No matter how many bad lectures I heard, I read something that Prabhupada says to encourage. So that is what keeps me going. So we should end up, there is something called Falasruti. You understand? You know what is a Falasruti? So at the end of your lecture, you should tell, for those who ever heard this lecture, you will get all these things from Krishna. What? It is part of the, Jagannath Ashtakam is there. No. Whoever hears this verse, they'll go back to Achyut. That is part of that sloka. So you kindly say something to make all of us feel we are very happily spending time here for the class. So I request you to say something to make us feel. No, you have to say it. Please tell something because that should become part of your lecture. So please tell us something. At least you tell us, please come for prasadam.
Most important part.
That is the final solution. Thank you. Hare Krishna.